Hello, my name is Elaine Poindexter, and I am here to tell you about my trip down this long journey of getting this degree. Well, let's start back when, before I started this degree. I had never worked outside of the home. I was a homemaker, a grandmother, and mom. And so I found myself needing a job. And there was no one that was going to hire me because I didn't have a degree. I had not worked. I was 57 years old, and there was nobody that wanted someone my age without any kind of college degree. Someone at church had told me about a woman that in our church that was helping others get a degree through A&M, so I hunted her up. Her name's Miss Cindy Woodcock, and she became my success coach, and I would not have been able to have made this journey without her. I started this degree 14 months ago. At the time, I was working for a vet, and I was making just barely minimum wage, which is nowhere near enough to support a person, let alone anybody else. So I started this college course, and there were many days when I thought there is no way I'm going to be able to do this, but on Saturday, December 16th at 2:30 p.m., I get to graduate. I get to walk that stage and get this diploma and be a college graduate. And I will have my bachelor's in organizational leadership. Now, I thought I knew what organizational leaders were. I'm a very organized person, and surely I can be a leader. I'm kind of bossy, I've been told. So I figured I knew all there was for it, but let me tell you, I was wrong. I have learned a lot from this college courses that I have taken and this degree that I am ready to assume that role of being a leader. Well, first things I learned was leadership isn't management. Anybody can be a leader. Anybody can be bossy and tell people what to do, but not everybody can manage. Manage means that you are productively working with a team of people, not just leading, not independently working, but you are actually over people and they're actually listening to you and they're doing what you're telling them to do and things are going forward and you're working as a team. There are different styles of leadership. I didn't realize that. There are three major roles of a leader. One is relationship. That is the interaction you have with your people. Being concerned about their feelings, being concerned about their personal life, being concerned about their grandma and how is she doing. That's the relationship. Then there is the task style. That is the one that is driven by goals, direction, giving directions, making sure that things are going exactly as they should go, making sure that you're on point when you need to be on point, the list taker. That is the task person. And then there is the consideration leadership. That is the one that has concern, but is not all consumed by interrelationship with their team. You can have a little bit of all three of these. All three of these make a good leader. You do need to be organized and have a task-driven goals sometimes, but sometimes you do need to have that compassion and that concern and that inner reaction with your team. So to be a good leader, you need to be a well-rounded leader, a well-rounded management that has a little bit of every one of these styles. There is a proper way to communicate. When I first started this course, I couldn't even write a paragraph. Now I can write a major essay. I know how to compose an email and make it sound professional. I know how to communicate on a phone and make it sound professional. I know how to be a professional in a professional setting in meetings and with corporate bigwigs now. I know what is the proper way to address people? What is the proper way to get your point across? How can you do it diplomatically and in a way that people are going to listen and be willing to do what it is that you're saying that needs to be done? That is all things that I've learned out of this course. There is personal evaluation. That's the hard one. Nobody wants to really look at themselves and say, where am I messing up? Where am I doing good? Where can I improve? Where have I overstepped that limit? Is there someone that I need to apologize to for something that I did? That is all part of, though, being a good manager. Making sure that you are personally evaluating yourself and how you are leading your team on a regular basis. So that you know where you can improve. So you know where you need to correct what you were doing in the wrong way. And where you have your strengths so that you can embellish those and make them even stronger. Now, in data-driven decision-making, say that one 3 times, I never really thought data was that important. Data's data. Okay, you put it in, it comes out. But without data, you cannot measure anything. Data is one of the most important aspects of a business that I never even realized was that important. Data makes you know whether or not you've made the right decision. It backs up whatever decision you have made, whether it was a right or a wrong decision. It doesn't lie. It can't be influenced. It can't be persuaded. It is just what it is. It allows us to ensure that we're having quality, that what we are doing is of quality work. What we are doing has quality to our numbers and to our customers and to our company and to our organization, to our shareholders. It helps us to make connections of the big picture. Where is our strong department? Where is our weak department? How can we help the weak department to become a stronger department? These are all things that we learn from data. Without data, you do not know any of this. We can fool ourselves and believe that we are a strong, healthy company. But if the numbers don't prove that, then we're really not. So data is a very important aspect to our organization. In behavior ethics and leadership, I always thought that I was a very ethical, moral person. Never thought that I would learn anything out of that because I'm a Christian and I try to live the moral life. But again, I was very fooled. There are 4 lenses that frame our decision making. Never really thought about that, but when you really look at it, study it, it does make a lot of sense. The first one is the purpose. Okay, purpose. Why? Is the result going to be worth what it's going to cost? That's something to take into consideration when you're making a decision. Is it going to be worth what it's going to cost? If it's not, then ethically, you should not do it. The second is the principle, the issue. What is the issue why we're making this decision? Is it something that is going to better the company, or is it something that is going to better me personally? Is it something that's going to better somebody else personally? Then there is the impact. Who is this going to affect? Is it a good effect or a bad effect? Is it of no effect at all? Those are all parts that we have to look at in consideration whenever we're going to make a decision. The last one is power and influence. That one gets misused a lot and abused a lot. Am I making this decision just so I can look better? Just so I can climb that ladder and get ahead of the one behind me? That is never an ethical reason to make a decision. The right way to negotiate ethically. There's right ways and wrong ways. Well, I kind of knew that, there is a right way to do ethically negotiations, but I did learn that there are some key elements to that I never thought about or never even considered. And now as I go into a management position, I'll be able to know those things. A responsible leader has to ensure that the workplace itself is ethical. If I am a leader that is telling off-colored jokes or running another person, company, department down, then my team is going to have that same attitude. And that's not an attitude that is healthy for your organization. So it is up to the manager to keep the mood and tone of the office and to make sure that that mood and tone goes the way it's supposed to. SWOT analysis. Never heard of that. Thought it was a TV show. Didn't even have a clue what SWOT analysis stood for. But come to find out, it is a very important aspect to your business. SWOT analysis stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The first 2 are internal, your strength. What is the strength of your company? Where are we strong? Second is weakness. Everybody has a weakness, and we're lucky if we only have one. So you need to know what the weaknesses are so that you can make implemented plans to strengthen those weaknesses to get them up to where the strengths are. So you have to know your strengths and you have to know your weaknesses. Then the other 2, the opportunity and the threat, are outside elements, not within our company. Opportunities on the outside. Where are we missing the ball? Where are we missing what we could have to make our company better? So those are something we need to implement and we need to look at and we need to discover and really do a investigation as to what are these opportunities that are missing. The last is threats. There are always threats. There are always things which are going to come against our company. Anybody in the military will tell you that you have to have a plan for a threat because they're going to be out there. Implementing new ways to improve weaknesses and avoid threats. That's the whole point of a SWOT analysis. That's why we do it, so that we know how to implement new plans so that we can overcome these threats. Then there's leading change. 5 factors in change process. There is the advocates, degree of change, time frame, impact on culture, and the evaluation. Those are all things that we have to take into that are the 5 different factors in change. Change comes all the time. It's whether or not we go about it in the correct way as to whether or not it will be a success. So you have to keep in mind those 5 factors of change. Advocates, degree of change, time frame. That's very important. If you're just going to do it willy-nilly, it's not going to be of any good. Impact on the culture and the evaluation of it. Change doesn't come overnight. It's something that takes a while, something that has to progress. So as a manager, you have to keep that in mind and continue to encourage your team. Change doesn't come overnight. Teamwork is vital to having a good change. You have to get your team on board with what is going on and what the change is going to be, and get them excited about what that change is going to bring about, that it's going to better the company. It's not going to make it worse. The 4 phases of a project. Now, whoever thought about that? Not me. I had a project, I went about it, did it. Well, there are phases of a project. The first one is initiating. You have to figure out, what are we even wanting to change? You can't change it if you don't even know what you're wanting to change. So first you have to come up with the idea of the change. The second is planning it. You can't just go out and say, okay, I'm changing this and it's changed. You have to have a plan, especially in a big organization, because everybody has to be on board with the plan. Everybody has to be on board with the changes and when it's going to happen. Next is the execution. That is important because you have to have steps to get to the end. You don't just all of a sudden jump off the couch and start running. You have to crawl, to walk, to run. And it's the same way in business. And the last is closing. You have to get it finished off. There has to be an end point to your project, and it has to be done, hand it over, and you're done. So you can move on to the next one. Now, me as a leader. I now have a job in a $8 billion company, a job that I love, and I am so excited about it. I've been there 2 months now. I've actually done the job that I've been hired for 3 weeks. After that, now they've moved me up to cutting checks. I'm making phone calls to vendors. I am more or less a go-to for any odds and end projects that need to be accomplished, which is so amazing to know that I am in this position now. And I do see me climbing that ladder that we talked about, me becoming a leader and a manager in this company. I plan on working in this company for the next 20 years. So I have a long way to go and a lot of opportunities and areas that I can move up as a leader from what I have learned in this class, in this course, in this degree, that is going to help me become that manager of this, in this big company that is just so overwhelming and amazing that I work for. You would have told me 2 years ago I'd be in this place, I would have laughed in your face. But again, through this course, through this degree, through this whole process, and there were many days when I thought I'm never going to make it. Now I'm here at the finish line, and it's all good. Thank you.